Recently, Democrats gathered here in Washington, D.C. to raise money and show their strength. Ted Kennedy was there, Jimmy Carter was there, Walter Mondale was there. And what you're about to see are C-SPAN's cameras bringing you the Democratic Unity Dinner.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States and Mrs. Carter, Senator Kennedy and Mrs. Kennedy.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to serve as honorary co-chairman of this evening's affair, together with Steve Smith, who is the other honorary co-chairman. I should like to say, for those of you who do not know him, I need not say it to those of you who do, he is honorary enough and to fill the job well. Steve, would you stand? He looks nice, doesn't he? That's one of Sarge Shriver's old suits that Eunice sent to him. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure now, and indeed an honor, to present to you, not introduce to you, but present to you a very distinguished, a very gallant, a very brave, and a very committed American, the Honorable Senator from the state of Massachusetts, Senator Edward Kennedy. Thank
you very much, Bob. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
President and Mrs. Carter, my fellow Democrats, fellow Carter supporters,
First, let me thank Bob Strauss for that warm introduction. Bob is a very persuasive man, and I only wish he had said some of those wonderful things about me back during the primaries. I'm grateful to Bob and to Lee Kling, to my cousin Bob Fitzgerald, my brother-in-law Steve Smith, and all of the members of the committee for their work on this event and for the Democratic Party over so many years. And let me say a special word about Arthur Krim, an old friend of mine and a great leader in our party. Arthur is a brilliant manager. His first big success was in the movies, presiding over United Artists. Now he's moved on to even bigger success. Here he is in 1980, presiding over United Democrats. And we really are united. Who would have believed this year two of the best-known Democrats in America would finally get together after so many conflicts and divisions over the issues, after arguing so long in public about their different views, and despite a deeply felt rivalry between them? I refer, of course, to Secretary of State Muskie and National Security Advisor Brzezinski. But I should tell you about one little problem. The other day, the President did warn me that we could carry this unity thing too far when I suggested that come next January, I could be there with him on the steps of the Capitol and repeat after him, "I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute." By the way, Ronald Reagan has asked me to make an announcement. Would someone please remove the plants and flowers from the room before they pollute the air? Did you see Mr. Did you see Mr. Reagan at the Al Smith dinner, where he said that he looks young because he always rides an old horse? Now, I'm surprised that Ronald Reagan would say that about the Republican Party. Mr. Reagan also says that he would put a woman on the Supreme Court, and he insists that he's looking for exactly the right woman, one who makes coffee and types 90 words a minute. Actually, the Reagan campaign has stalled. In fact, the only part still working is the transition team. And they're now working on moving Ronald Reagan's baggage from Middleburg, Virginia, back to his ranch in California. I see so many good friends here this evening and good Democrats. And let me acknowledge 4 of them who are bringing a very special joy to our evening together. The leading composer and conductor in America, a friend of mine and my family's for many years, Leonard Bernstein. The joyous musician, the star of Hello, Dolly, who has captivated the hearts of generations of Americans, Carol Channing. And a gifted actor who has always been ready to give of himself for the Democratic Party, Kirk Douglas. And one of the greatest artists of jazz and trombone in our century, Billy Eckstine. Joan and I are grateful to all of you for your generosity this evening and for your commitment to the Democratic cause and to the Democratic victory in 1980 and to the re-election of Jimmy Carter. The issues are the heart of the 1980 campaign. And I support President Carter because I support him on the issues that are critical now and for the future of our nation. All of us here believe in the democratic ideals of progress and fairness, and we oppose a Reagan-Kemp-Roth tax cut that takes the name of tax reform in vain. And we'll continue to fight publicly and persistently, without equivocation or excuse, for the ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment and and for the conviction that women must have their rightful place in the Constitution of the United States. And in the next 4 years, a Democratic administration will seek to make every part of government more representative of the majority who are women and the minority who are not white. Together we will speak for civil rights, and always we will respect the integrity of our judicial system and of the Supreme Court that is the safeguard of our liberty. And because of where he stands on all these issues, I have taken my stand with President Carter. And above all else, we who are here believe in reducing the risk of nuclear war. We believe in the SALT Treaty, negotiated over the past decade by 3 presidents of both parties to control nuclear arms. We dare not scrap that treaty. We must dare to seek a world safe for human survival. And this is the most important issue for any administration and in all of human history. And because of where he stands on that issue, I've taken my stand with President Carter. Tonight we are all here as Democrats, standing together against the forces of reaction and retreat, for an America of hope and opportunity. I want Jimmy Carter to win this election. I'm campaigning for him across this country, and I'll continue to campaign all the way to Election Day. And in a little more than 2 weeks, we will be voting for a president. We will choose an individual, a party, and a tradition. And tonight I'm honored to introduce the nominee of the Democratic Party, the trustee of the Democratic tradition, the Democratic president who will be reelected on November 4th, President Jimmy Carter. Okay. Oh, that's very nice. Thank you.
Ted? First of all, I want to express to Senator Kennedy my deep appreciation, not only for his introduction of me and those fine words he said about my campaign in the Democratic Party, but also because of his generous support that he's giving me all over the nation. We have already been together as a campaign team in California, Massachusetts, more recently the other night in New Jersey, and in Pennsylvania. He's been campaigning today in Michigan and other places. We'll be together tomorrow night in New York. This is an all-out, deeply committed, extremely generous action on his part that I think will make the difference when election night comes. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to express my thanks to my friend Ted Kennedy. Tonight, as a matter of fact, I play a supporting role to him. There's no way I could move any further without thanking again Arthur Krim for being willing to host this wonderful evening. Arthur has been a loyal supporter and a friend for Democrats and for Democratic presidents ever since the time of Harry Truman. His success tonight demonstrates again his leadership qualities and the trust that all of us have in him. It also bodes well for the future to know that his loyal friendship will be there in 1984 and in subsequent times when Democrats call on him to make our party great and to keep a Democratic president in the White House. Arthur Krim, we thank you very much. I hate to do this so early, but I also want to express my thanks to Bob Strauss. In advance. Very seldom, when it is most significant to me, do I have a chance to thank Bob Strauss. But when it comes to Democratic Party unity, Bob is a reigning world champion. He brought the party together in 1976. Had he not done so, we would not have had a Democrat serve as president. He's doing it again. Unity meant victory then. Unity means that we will have another victory in 1980. Bob Strauss, I thank you. And although I'm repeating some of the things that Senator Ted Kennedy has already mentioned, I do want to express the appreciation of all of us to Lee Kling and to Steve Smith, to Bob Fitzgerald, and all those in this audience who have helped to make this fundraising event and this Unity Dinner a success. Before I go further, I'd like to make a presentation from me and my wife, Rosalind. Last October, I joined Senator Kennedy, Joan, the Kennedy family, and others who have such deep admiration for John Kennedy in dedicating the John F. Kennedy Library in Boston, Massachusetts. It was a moving experience for us all. And now I would like to make a contribution, if someone will bring it to me. This is a watercolor sketch of President Kennedy by Jamie Wyeth. Jamie gave the portrait to me during the 1976 campaign. It's been hanging in my home in Plains and later in the family residence of the White House ever since. Rosalind and I want this portrait to hang where it really belongs, where others can appreciate it. We would like to offer it to Senator Kennedy for display in the John F. Kennedy Library. For those of you who knew personally and who loved and revered Jack Kennedy, and for those of us who didn't know him personally but who respected him and admired what he stood for, there is no doubt in our mind that Ted Kennedy carries on that great tradition in the finest sense of the word. As a spokesman for the Democratic Party, as one who's tough and effective, a superb campaigner, as one who represents the finest aspects of his own family, as one who knows the historical perspective which has made the Democratic Party the majority party in this country and kept it there, as one who loves and cares for and leads for those who are disadvantaged, who are not rich or articulate or influential, but who reach out for assistance so they can stand on their own feet and enjoy the benefits of our great society, they could not have a better friend or supporter, a more effective advocate than Senator Ted Kennedy. And let me say something else. He proves that we Democrats know how to battle hard among ourselves. But woe be unto those who face us when we're together. When we fight side by side like Democrats, that's exactly when we win like Democrats. We have some excellent entertainment for you here tonight, and I don't want to compete with it. Certainly not with Kirk Douglas, anyway. I'm having enough trouble with members of his profession this year already. Later, Kirk will introduce some absolutely superb entertainment for you. Leonard Bernstein, Carol Channing, Billy Eckstein, just the sound of their names brings music to our ears. This has been an historic campaign in many ways. There have been divisions and demonstrations of unity. The issues have been discussed thoroughly. And I can't say that the Democrats have had a monopoly on grasping important issues. The Republicans have done their share. For years, scientists, for instance, have been grappling with the complexity of environmental pollution. And as Senator Kennedy pointed out earlier, Ronald Reagan has found the real culprit. He did misunderstand the scientists in one way. When they said that someone needs to attack the pollution problem at its roots, unfortunately, Governor Reagan took them literally. Many Americans are very upset at the indictment of our flowers, our woodlands, and our trees. In fact, I hear that Smokey the Bear is going to come out of retirement to join with us and demand equal time from the Republicans. It's up to us to accept Smokey the Bear in our ranks and use his notable persuasive powers to bring us to a victory next month. We unite this evening as Democrats, not just in opposition to the Republicans, but we unite under the banner that we all share and into which we all believe as Democrats. I grew up in the Depression, and I saw the change in life and the attitude and the restored hopes that Franklin Roosevelt brought to my own family. Later, I served in the Navy as an ensign and a Lieutenant J.G., and then as a lieutenant under a fighting commander-in-chief, Harry Truman. Even in uniform, I cheered when he gave them hell. I worked as a farmer later on during the civil rights days when President John Kennedy sent a ray of hope and expectation among the downtrodden and those who had been suffering from deprivation of equal legal status in our society, followed by the great President Lyndon Johnson. I felt the pride that they instilled in me as a Democrat and an American, and the love that they both inspired in the breast of those who had been excluded. Ours is a party of strength. Ours is a party of peace. We've kept our nation out of war. We stand for equality under the law and also equality of opportunity. We stand for freedom of religious expression. We stand for freedom of conscience. We stand for economic progress, and we stand for social progress. These goals are just as valid today as they were when Jefferson drafted the Declaration of Independence. They're just as important today. They're just as much worth our efforts to wage a real political fight. Ours is a nation of great achievement. And tonight, as part of our entertainment, we will prove again the superb nature of art and its achievement in our country. Among the things of which we are so proud, that has transcended the obstacles of international barriers, provided cultural understanding and admiration for our country, is, of course, the film industry. It's a privilege for me now, as president of our country, a proud president of our country, to introduce one of the finest representatives of our film industry, my friend, our friend, Kirk Douglas.
Mr. President, Senator Kennedy, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kirk Douglas, and I'm a member of the Screen Actors Guild. Now, we actors must stick together. We can't afford to lose even one member of the Actors Guild. So, I beg all of you, help us to keep Ronnie Reagan in Hollywood. Now, you know, during the recent actors' strike, there was a happy omen. A questionnaire was sent out across the country. Now, which television shows would you like to see rerun? The #1 show, and this is actually the truth, Carter Country. And if Reagan gets in, we're liable to see a lot of reruns of Death Valley Days. Now, that wasn't too fair, because seriously, I've seen a lot of Ronnie's films on TV. And I think he's done a lot of good acting jobs. In King's Row, you remember the remarkable Gipper of Notre Dame? You know, it's not that I love Notre Dame less, but I love America more. I think it's time we lost one for the Gipper and won one for the country. You know, it's nice to hear your laughter. It's a happy sound. But perhaps, I think there have been too many one-liners in this campaign. America is no laughing matter. And because of that, I believe very seriously that actors should use caution in expressing their political opinions in public, because we have such ready access to the media that others don't have. And very often the good guy screen image spills over into a real life image. And then fantasy becomes fact. And that's why I'm speaking out now. Because in the noise of a political race for the presidency, there's one crucial element that's overlooked. No man comes to the presidency ready to be president. I've been to the Academy of Dramatic Arts, but there's no training academy for presidents. Experience on the job is the true guide to the right decisions. You know, Alexander Pope once wrote that a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. And frankly, I feel very uneasy at the possibility that Mr. Reagan might be at a conference table with Prime Minister Thatcher, D'Estaing, Schmidt, Brezhnev. Do you realize that not since President Eisenhower have we had a two-term president? But this time, we better have. This time, I think we better have, so that generations from now, Americans not yet born will say that Jimmy Carter was a good president. And when he left office on January the 20th, 1985, this land and all who lived in it were safer, healthier, freer, better educated, more prosperous, and less anxious about tomorrow. Thank you. You know, and now I'm really tickled about introducing to you our first guest artist, because I auditioned for him over 30 years ago. And if I'd been able to sing, I might have gotten the part. He has composed some of the most beautiful music that we've ever heard, classical, popular, and he's probably the most famous conductor in the world, Mr. Leonard Bernstein.
Thank you, Kirk, very much. Mr. President, Senator Kennedy, reunited friends, all dear united friends. I'm here tonight in two roles, both of which are musical, that of composer and that of humble accompanist to a brilliant young singer whom you are about to hear. But first, I would like briefly to add a third role, which is that of a concerned American. Taking my cue from Kirk Douglas, perhaps I may be so bold as to strike a serious note before we get to what is laughingly called entertainment. So forgive me if I speak for a minute or so on tonight's theme of unity. And forgive me also if I speak not to you, but through you, availing myself of this august forum to address directly my fellow voters in New York and in Boston, Philadelphia, Washington, but especially in New York. I am speaking particularly to my fellow liberals, fellow Democrats, and fellow Jews who are feeling wobbly about this coming election, or angry about it, or simply bored with it. I am speaking to those of you who have committed yourselves to candidates of the Liberal Party or of the Citizens Party or whatever, some out of deep personal conviction, others out of misguided persuasion, and still others out of sheer self-righteousness. And here is my message to you, as terse and compact as I can make it. The real act of unity, which we are presently called upon to perform, is an act of rescue, to rescue that much abused word patriotism, and with it the whole concept of patriotism, from the clutching hands and greedy mouths of America's bigots. Patriotism is a word I'm very fond of, but it's a word that has fallen into some disfavor among our intellectual liberal friends. It's begun to seem like the private property of the most narrow-minded rightist groups, of Klansmen and America Firsters, of Minutemen and Birchers, of demagogic evangelists who are anti-black, anti-Semitic, anti-labor, anti-abortionist, anti-gay, anti-civil liberties, anti-human rights, to say nothing of out-and-out warmongers, to say nothing of those who would solve all our problems instantly by nuclear means. My friends, if Ronald Reagan becomes president, every one of these nightmare figures is going to come riding in with him, high in the saddle. And it is to prevent this unthinkable possibility that we must all unite in this evening of unity and in the next 2 weeks of unity to bring to fruition our only best hope, the re-election of Jimmy Carter. And that, my friends in New York, Philadelphia, Boston, Washington, that is my message to you, and I am talking to you, Arthur Schlesinger, and to you, Marty Peretz, and to you, Ralph Abernathy, and to you, Phyllis Newman, and Joe Rao, and so many others. Let us unite as thinking, progressive, and patriotic Americans to save our country from the shame and the danger of bigotry. Amen. And now I revert to my lowly position of accompanist, and I'm extremely happy to introduce to you a brilliant young singer, a 24-year-old tenor named David Eisler, who hails from the great state of Indiana, and who is one of the finest young singers I've ever heard in my life. He's going to sing a few of my songs, and I think he'll tell you what they are. David Eisler.
From Mr. Bernstein's Mass, which made its premiere here in 1971 at the Kennedy Center. And it's called A Simple Song. Sing God a simple song, louder, louder. Make it up as you go along, louder, louder. Sing like you like to sing. God loves all simple things, for God is the simplest of all. For God is the simplest of all. I will sing the Lord a new song, to praise Him, to bless the Lord. I will sing His praises while I live, all of my days. Blessed is the man who loves the Lord. Blessed is the man who praises Him. Louder, 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 and walks in His ways. I will lift up my eyes from the hills, to whence comes my help. I will lift up my voice to the Lord, singing louder, louder. For the Lord is my shade, is the shade upon my right hand, and the sun shall not smite me by day, nor the moon by night. Blessed is the man who loves the Lord. Louder, 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 and walks in His ways. Louder, 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 dee da dee day. All of my days. The next two numbers are both from Mr. Bernstein's West Side Story. The first one is Something's Coming. It's very appropriate, I think, for the occasion. And the last one is Maria. something due any day. I will know right away, soon as it shows. It may come cannonballing down through the sky, gleam in its eye, bright as a rose. Who knows? It's only just out of reach, down a block on a beach, under a tree. I got a feeling there's a miracle due, gonna come true, coming to me. Could it be? Yes, it could. Something's coming, something good, if I can wait. Something's coming, I don't know what it is, but it is gonna be great. With a click, with a shock, phone will jingle, door will knock, open a latch. Something's coming, don't know when, but it soon. Catch the moon, one-handed catch. Around the corner, whistling down the river. Come on, deliver to me. Will it be? Yes, it will. Maybe just by holding still, it'll be there. Come on, something, don't be shy. Meet a guy, pull up a chair. The air is humming, and something great is coming. Who knows? It's only just out of reach, down the block on a beach. Maybe tonight, maybe tonight, maybe tonight. The most beautiful sound I ever heard. Maria, 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 Maria. All the beautiful sounds of the world in a single word. Maria, 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 Maria. I just met a girl named Maria, and suddenly that name will never be the same to me. Maria, I just kissed a girl named Maria, and suddenly I found how wonderful a sound can be. Maria, say it loud and there's music playing. Say it soft and it's almost like praying. Maria, I'll never stop saying Maria, 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 Maria. Say it soft and it's almost like rain. Maria, I'll never stop saying Maria. most beautiful sound I ever heard. Maria.
Well, now I know why I didn't get the part in that audition. And now, I'm really delighted to present to you a performer. You love her as an artist, and when you know her, you love her as a person. She's given 2 memorable roles on Broadway. In one, Lorelei Lee, the little girl from Little Rock, she sang "Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend." And in the other, she was that unforgettable matchmaker to whom the whole world sang "Hello, Dolly." And now, on behalf of all of you, I'd like to say, hello, Carol Channing.
Thank you, Mr. President, Senator Kennedy, good evening. It's a joy and an honor to be here tonight with all of you on this auspicious occasion. In the past, it has been my privilege to support winners. I was a part of the John F. Kennedy campaign. The Lyndon Baines Johnson campaign. I'll never forget the honor of singing "Hello, Lyndon." And I was a part of the Jimmy Carter campaign, and tonight I am here to be a part of this campaign to re-elect our president and to save America from a Hollywood administration. Yeah. I, too, have worked in Hollywood, and let me tell you that in Hollywood, fame is a fleeting thing, to coin a phrase. I'll bet very few of you remember a girl named Cecilia Sisson, who starred in the first all-talking, all-singing motion picture, Mississippi Melody. If Cecilia were here tonight, she would say, "My name is Cecilia Sisson. S-I-S-S-O-N, Sisson. I starred in the first all-talking picture, Mississippi Melody. I had been on the silent screen for 7 years. My career was going great guns when suddenly something happened. Overnight, I hit the skids. So to speak. They seemed to feel that there was something wrong with my voice. Absolutely asinine. There wasn't a thing the matter with my voice. It was studio politics. That's what it was. I just wouldn't play ball with the producer. And I told him so in no uncertain terms. Now, when I watch all the old movies on TV, I say to myself, Cecilia, old girl, with your looks and talent, you could have been one of the greatest stars today if you'd only been able to keep your big mouth shut. Well, I want you to know, yes, I want you to know that tonight I am here to report that Cecilia at last has decided to open her mouth after all these years. Yes, Cecilia Sisson is now campaigning for her old friend, Ronald Reagan. Yes. Cecilia says, Ronnie will make a superb president if he will only learn never to ad-lib and to keep his big mouth shut. Yes. Yes. Well, speaking for myself, I must say that we as Americans cannot afford to have someone in the White House who only acts like a president. We must have a statesman who is a president. Yes. Here as an American voter who wants to see Jimmy Carter in the White House for the next 4 years. I'm proud that you asked me to be a part of this campaign.
Watching C-SPAN, the cable satellite public affairs network. Throughout the month of October, we'll be bringing you more programs that give you an inside look at the 1980 election.